"You're nothing but a burden, old man. Get out of my life." Aiden's words cut deep, but I didn't flinch. This was my home, built with sweat and steel, and he thought he could just take it from me. Little did he know, I held the keys not just to the house, but to the life I built for him. Tomorrow, I'd show him just how strong those keys really were. If it were you, would you choose to keep distance or exchange forganism? Comment and share if you choose the mark instead of anger. My name is Frank Delaney. The man spitting those words is my son, Aiden Delaney. Behind him, his wife Lila watched with her arms crossed. On my sofa sat her parents, Gordon and Patrice Vale, legs crossed like they already owned the view. This is our family's brick villa, built in the 1920s. After my wife Eleanor died, I moved the title into Aiden's name to keep it in the family. He liked the crown. He didn't read the papers. He nudged my duffel with the toe of his shoe. "You don't live here anymore, my house." He means the deed. He doesn't know the beams. Along with that deed, he signed a purchase money note and a mortgage back to the Franklin Delaney Trust. I'm the beneficiary. Taxes and insurance still draft from my accounts. I kept the weight-bearing parts. Lila didn't blink. Gordon nodded as if seconding a motion. Patrice adjusted a cushion where Eleanor's knitting basket used to sit. Through the door I could see the entry table, scarred walnut. On the mail tray lay a white envelope Aiden hadn't opened. Payment notice, Franklin Delaney Trust Servicing. His name in the window. My silence in the return. "Go sleep on a friend's couch," Aiden said. "Or a shelter. I don't care." He checked to see if they heard him. They did. I bent for my bag. The hinge on the oak door didn't squeal when he reached for it. I oil it every fall. Some habits stay even when respect leaves. "This is my house," he repeated, working the word like candy in his mouth. "Anything else?" I asked. "Calm travels farther than anger. It lands in places shouting never reaches." "Yeah," he said, satisfied. "Don't call. Don't text. Don't come back like some stray." He shut the door with a practiced pull. The latch caught. I stood a second with the porch light on my face and the smell of wet leaves in the air. The villa had outlasted better men than my son on a bad night. Brick doesn't care about titles. Steel doesn't care about names. It carries or it fails. I walked to my car. The maple by the curb rattled its last coins of leaves. In the window, the Vale's silhouettes moved comfortably around my lamplight. My key was cold. I liked the sting of it in my palm. The engine hummed steady. I didn't turn on the heater. On the passenger seat, my notebook lay open. I printed a single line in block letters, the way I mark stock I intend to cut. Tomorrow, the papers speak for me. I looked once at the wavy glass in the door, at the porch I laid with my own hands, and put the car in gear. Title flatters a man. Mortgage puts him on a schedule. My son thinks he evicted a beggar. He just evicted the lender. "I don't need to shout," I told the empty room. "I need a seal." In my study, the safe is waist-high, heavy as an old anvil. The dial turns easy under my fingers. Muscle memory is a better locksmith than bravado. Inside, a red accordion file with Eleanor's tidy label, Property Brick Villa. I set it on the desk and let the lamplight turn paper into edges. First, the purchase money promissory note. Aiden Delaney, borrower. Franklin Delaney Trust. Lender. Amount, rate, schedule. His signature slants like he was in a hurry to become a man. I slide to the amortization page and circle 3 missed payments with a carpenter's pencil dull tip dark line. Delinquent isn't a feeling, it's dates. Next, the recorded mortgage. County stamp, book and page, legal description in a language that always felt like a hymn to land. Beneficiary, Franklin Delaney Trust. I trace the acceleration clause with my thumb. In default, the lender may declare the entire balance immediately due. You don't raise your voice, you raise the balance. Steel rules are quiet rules. Behind it, Ruth's letter on cream stock. Degem escrow acknowledgement. On the day we transferred title to Aiden, he signed a deed in lieu, held by counsel, to be released for recording only if the note falls into uncured default, belt and suspenders. I don't dress to impress. I dress so nothing falls. I open the bottom drawer, pull the trust ledger. Taxes and hazard insurance paid by the trust, on time, every time. When a house survives a century, it's because someone pays attention when there's no audience. The phone is warm in my hand. Ruth answers on the first ring, voice steady as a plumb line. Frank. He's in default, I say. 3 installments. Notices went out, unopened. I have the deed in escrow, she says. We start with mediation per the clause. If he won't cure within the window, we accelerate and record. Do you want the union letter ready for the community announcement? I do, and I want a room tomorrow. She types. I hear it in the pace of her breath. Mediation, 10 a.m., room 3. I'll email the coordinator. Bring the originals. Ruth. I add. No soft landings. No soft landings, she repeats, not unkindly. Just law. I hang up and call Tito Alvarez. He runs hot, but he respects heat control. Jefe, he says. You need us? I need a letter, I reply. From the union supporting a public makerspace at the Brick Villa, preserving trades training and industrial history. No names, no gossip, just purpose. You'll have it by morning, he says. Kids need torches more than drama. When the house is quiet, paper is louder. I stack the note, the mortgage, Ruth's D. Dunskro letter, the ledger, and the mailed payment notice. I retrieve from my own return address still sealed. I'll bring it like a mirror held to his face. I lock the safe, then the study door, then the front door of my small apartment, not the villa. Locks are habits you keep so you can sleep. On the way to bed, I lay out a navy jacket, a white shirt, and the same steel gray tie Eleanor said made me look like I meant what I said. Tomorrow, I won't need volume. I'll need ink. The phone buzzes on the nightstand. Ruth's text lands like a gavel. 10 a.m. tomorrow. Mediation room. Tress. Bring originals. Room 3 was a square table, 4 chairs, a pitcher of water, and a clock that didn't forgive. The mediator, Miss Harlan, set a yellow legal pad in front of her and folded her hands. This is a facilitated conversation, she began. We'll keep voices level and we'll talk facts. Mr. Delaney, she looked at Aiden, you asked for this session to resolve a family housing dispute. My house, Aiden said. He needs to get out of my life and stop showing up. Ruth slid our folder onto the table. Before we address behavior, she said evenly, we need to address ownership and debt. We'll proceed with documents. Miss Harlan nodded. Let's see them. I unbuttoned my jacket and opened the folder so the pages faced the center. Ruth placed the first sheet in front of the mediator. Purchase money promissory note, she said. Maker, Aiden Delaney. Payee, Franklin Delaney Trust. Executed on the same day title was transferred to Aiden. Aiden squinted at the page, his signature angled across the bottom, a younger man's hurry preserved in ink. What is this? Lila asked, voice thin. The loan your husband used to buy the house when the deed moved into his name, Ruth said. He signed a note to the trust that financed it. She placed the second document. Recorded mortgage. County stamp, book and page here. Legal description. Beneficiary. Franklin Delaney Trust. She tapped the paragraph mid-page. Acceleration clause. Upon default, the lender may declare the entire balance immediately due. Aiden's jaw worked. I don't owe him anything, he said. He gave me the house. He gave you title, Ruth replied. You gave him a note. That's how purchase money financing works. 3 payments are delinquent. Notices were mailed. I took the white envelope from the folder and set it gently between us, address window up. Payment notice Franklin Delaney Trust Servicing. Unopened. That was on your entry table last night, I said, with your name on it. Miss Harlan read the header on the mortgage, then looked to Aiden. Did you understand you had a mortgage payable to your father's trust? He never... Aiden stopped, scanning the note again, searching for a loophole that wasn't there. I thought... Ruth slid the third paper forward, cream letterhead. Deed Vrin Hughes Crow Acknowledgement. On the day of transfer, Mr. Delaney, she nodded to Aiden, executed a deed in lieu of foreclosure to be held by counsel and released only if the note falls into uncured default. It's a belt-to-down suspenders arrangement. Standard for private family financing where the lender is also the prior owner. Gordon cleared his throat. This feels drastic. It feels like paperwork, Ruth said. We will observe every step required by law. Mediation today. Formal notice of default this afternoon. Cure period per the note. If not cured by the deadline, we accelerate the balance and record the deed held in escrow. At that moment, title returns to the trust. Aiden leaned forward, color high. You can't do this to me. I won't raise my voice, I said. I'll raise the balance. Miss Harlan kept her gaze neutral. Mr. Delaney, to Aiden, these are binding instruments with county stamps and your signature. Mediation can't erase them. Is there any proposal to cure the default? Lila's eyes flicked to Aiden. He didn't answer. Ruth capped her pen. We're not here to horse trade. We will serve notice of default today, with the cure window specified. If there's no cure, we proceed per the documents. Aiden looked at me, hate mixed with something he didn't want me to see. You're doing this to your own son. I'm ending something my son started, I said. There won't be another conversation about it. Miss Harlan wrote one sentence on her pad. Parties acknowledge default and lender's intent to proceed per note and mortgage. She underlined the date. Session concluded, she said. Ruth glanced at me. Proceed? I nodded once. I don't need revenge, I told Ruth. I need procedure. Her office smelled like lemon oil. She slid 2 papers across. Notice of default, notice of intent to record deed in lieu. Certified today, she said. Cure window per the note through 11:59 p.m. Wednesday. If he cures, we accept funds. If not, I accelerate and walk the deed to recording Thursday at 9. Walk it, I said. Don't mail it. We signed. Her paralegal stacked green USPS cards like proof of weather. 2 blocks over, the Historical Society's glass cases held welders caught mid-spark. Ann Park unrolled a district map. If you donate the villa, she said, we'll attach a preservation covenant exterior and principal interiors. Educational use fits us. I want it strong, I said. No resale, no short-term rentals, no event business. Half shop welding, lathe, sandcast. Half micro-museum. You handle visitors and grants. She smiled. Done. And a plaque? For Eleanor, we keep the fire that made us. At the Union Hall, Tito handed me a letter on Union letterhead. Support for makers and metalworks at the Brick Villa. Instructors for the first 4 weekends. Kids need torches more than drama, he said. Bring face shields, I said. I like eyebrows. Back home, Ruth's email landed. Notices served. Scans of the certified receipts. Delivered 4:32 p.m., signed by L. Delaney. Attached were covenant drafts, educational use only. No subdivision. No short-term rentals. Preservation of the stairs, mantel, hearth tile, and a life-use clause reserving a small rear studio for me desk. Cot, a window on the alley oak. Read them out loud, Eleanor used to say. I did. Paper should hear itself, Ruth called. We can finalize the covenant now and hold it. The moment title is back in the trust. You sign the donation deed to the Society's foundation with the covenant attached. Friday, 11 a.m., I said. If you record Thursday. It's on my calendar, she said. Press will nibble once the Society posts. Want a quote? Use theirs, I'm just a donor. I set the stack in order. Note, mortgage, deed escrow letter. Default notice. Tito's endorsement. Ann's covenant. Input. Heat. Shape. Cool my own small mill. The trust servicer pinged my phone. Certified mail delivered to Aiden Delaney, 4:32 p.m., signed by L. Delaney. The microwave read 4:39. The cure window had started to breathe. Ruth texted, no adjectives, just time and threshold. Cure, by 11:59 p.m. Wednesday. If no cure, I record Thursday, 9 o'clock. Be at the courthouse by 8:45. I wrote the times on a sticky note and pressed it to the lamp base where the light could keep it honest. 48 hours is a long time when you're waiting on steel to set, and a short one when a door is about to close for good. Wednesday, 12:04 p.m. The sky was the color of unfinished steel. I stepped out of Ruth's building with a copy set of the notices in my folder when Aiden cut across the lot. Fast and furious, phone lit in his hand. You're nothing, do you hear me? He said, crowding my space. A pathetic, broke leech. You rot everything you touch. You weren't a father, you were ballast. Get out of my city, out of my life. I noted the time in my head and kept my hands at my sides. Lila sat in their SUV with the window cracked and her camera up, framing her own script. Say it again, she called. He's harassing you. Aiden obliged. Harassment, you hear that? If you ever come near us, I'll have you dragged out. You'll die alone, and no one will care. Lower your voice, a security guard said from the doorway. He stayed put, watchful. I didn't look away from my son. You're angry, I said. I'm busy. He laughed, dry and mean. Busy being poor? You're a joke in that thrift store tie. You want attention? Here, he angled his phone up to my face. Tell the internet how it feels to lose the only family you had. I slid a thin envelope from my folder and held it at chest height, steady. Cease and desist, I said. No, contact, courtesy copies. I set them on the hood of his car so the camera got a good look at the letterhead. All communication goes through counsel from this minute. You speak to Ruth or you don't speak at all. He slapped the top sheet away. You don't serve me anything. Already served, I said. Certified, yesterday. Signed for at 4:32 by L. Delaney. Curie expires tonight at 11:59. After that, we accelerate the balance and record the deed held in escrow. Title returns to the trust. Any entry at the property will be criminal trespass, and I will prosecute. There is no negotiation. There is no forgiveness. There is no later. He took one step closer, close enough I could smell coffee and the burn of nerves. Mom would be sick at what you're doing. Do not use your mother's name, I said, each word clean. You lost the right to borrow her voice the night you shoved me off that porch. He flinched and covered it with volume. You'll pay for this. I'll smear you everywhere. Old, broke, bitter. I tipped my head, watching the tremor in his throat. You're on a clock, Aiden, not a camera. I pointed at his phone. That won't cure a default. Lila opened the SUV door and stepped out, heels biting into the salt-dusted asphalt. We will ruin you, she said, soft and precise. You think anyone cares about your little papers? We'll tell everyone you're unstable. We'll bring up the drinking. I don't drink, I said. I document. I pulled a small recorder from my pocket and clicked it off so they could watch the red light die. You wanted a film. You just made a record. The guard took a few steps forward. Is there a problem? No problem, I said. We're finished. Aiden's face went a mottled red. You are finished. If you ever show up at my door again... I won't, I said. You don't have a door I need. He swiped the courtesy copies off the hood again and left them on the ground. Paper doesn't mind the pavement. It just waits to be read by someone with authority. My phone buzzed. Ruth. Bank confirms no incoming wires as of 12:11. Cure remains open until 11:59 p.m. Proceed as planned. I let the text glow on the screen where he could see it and slid the phone back into my pocket. 35 hours felt long on Monday, I said. 11 hours and 48 minutes won't. Aiden stepped back like I'd shoved him. You'll regret this. I won't regret boundaries, I said. I regret how late I drew them. Lila's camera dipped a fraction, uncertainty hunting for a new angle. The guard didn't move. Traffic hissed on wet asphalt. Somewhere a plow clanked. I gathered the fallen papers, brushed the grit from the edges, and slid them back into my folder. All contact through counsel, I repeated. Any direct communication will be treated as harassment. Any appearance at the property after recording will be trespass. There's nothing else for us to say. I turned and walked toward the street. Aiden shouted something behind me about funerals and empty pews. The words didn't carry. Wind did. It bit my ears and cleared my head. At the corner I checked the sticky note I'd pressed to my wallet. 11:59 p.m. cure deadline. 9 a.m. record deed. 11 a.m. signed donation deed. 3 lines like the heats you run to make good steel. Bring it up, shape it, let it set. 11:59 p.m. Wednesday. No wire, no cashier's check. The servicer dashboard showed zeros where relief would live. I turned the phone face down and let the minute tick over. 8:45 a.m. Thursday. Courthouse lobby smelled like old varnish and coffee. Ruth met me by the elevators, file slim and heavy with meaning. Ready? She said. Walk it, I said. Recorder's counter. 8:58. The clerk checked the name, the parcel ID, the chain. Ruth slid the deed in lieu across the glass with the notice of default and the affidavit of non-accure clipped behind it, the way she likes her arguments sequenced. The clerk fed pages under the stamp, numbers whispering to life. 9:03 a.m. Recorded, the clerk said, reading off an instrument number and book. Page. She circled the time with a felt tip like a surgeon marking an incision. Ruth exhaled once, small and complete. Title is back in the Franklin Delaney Trust, she said. Effective this minute. We stepped to the side table. She pulled a second set from her briefcase. Now the housekeeping, she said. efficient as a metronome. Notice of no trespass and withdrawal of permission to enter. Addressed to Aidan Delaney and Lila Delaney, and to Gordon and Patrice Vale. Copies to their counsel. Copies to the local police non-emergency portal for incident reference. HOA notified of ownership change. Gate list purged. Serve them all, I said. She texted her paralegal. Post on door, certified mail, and email confirmations. The reply came back with a photo in under an hour. Our notice taped clean to the oak. Date, time stamped. By noon, a locksmith had met me at the villa. No speeches. New cylinders, new fobs, alarm code reset, keypad cover wiped like fingerprints off a memory. I walked room to room once without pausing stairs, mantel, Eleanor's hearth tile, then locked the rear studio that would be mine by covenant. Desk, cot, the little window on the alley oak. No ghosts. Just work waiting? On the sidewalk, the winter sun made the brick look warmer than it felt. Ruth called. HOA has updated the roster. Patrol will swing by twice nightly for a week. Police acknowledged the no trespass notices on the address file. I filed a change of address with the county for tax notices back to the trust. Good, I said. My phone buzzed again. Ann Park. Covenant ready. Deed of gift to the Society's foundation drafted. Can you confirm tomorrow at 11 o'clock? Confirmed, I replied. Tito's message followed. Instructors lined. Saturday after next. We'll bring shields. I stood at the curb and looked at the house, not as a wound, but as a tool, one that could be set to a better use. Aidan's name would still live in the transfer history. A thin layer of ink between thicker ones, but the force had moved. Paper can be soft in the hand and immovable in the world. Back at my apartment, Ruth emailed certified mail barcodes and a PDF bundle. Instrument number, book, page, stamped copies. The subject line had no poetry. Title reverted, notices served, donation deed tomorrow. I printed the first page and framed it cheap, set it on the shelf above my desk, not a trophy or reference. The clock on the microwave said 1:17 p.m. The rest of the day could be quiet now. Tomorrow at 11, Ruth said on a follow-up call. We signed the donation deed with the preservation covenant attached. One word you'll hear. Irrevocable. That's the one I came for, I said. Friday, 11 a.m., the Historical Society's conference room smelled like lemon polish and dust that knew stories. Ann Park set a small stack of papers between us. Ruth aligned them square to the table's edge. A photographer from the local paper waited by the window, respectful, lens cap in his palm. Ruth tapped the top page. Donation deed to the Society's foundation with the preservation covenant attached, she said. Educational use only. No resale. No short-term rentals. No event business. Stairs, mantel, hearth tile preserved. Your life-use studio reserved. Once recorded, irrevocable. Irrevocable, I repeated, the word landing like cooled steel. We signed where the flags told us to. Anne added her name. Then the foundation officer added hers. The notary stamped with the firmness of someone who believes in paper. Ruth clipped the deed and covenant into a tidy packet. I'll handy-carry to the recorder within the hour, she said. By 2 o'clock, this will be public record. Anne slid a folder across to me. Inside, a simple proof of a brass plaque. For Eleanor, we keep the fire that made us. The font was clean, no sentimentality. We can have this cast by next week, she said. She'd have liked that, I said. Understated. The photographer lifted his chin. One picture? We stood with the deed between us, but not displayed no theater. Tito arrived in a clean work shirt, union logo small at the pocket. Instructors lined for the first 4 Saturdays, he said. We'll bring shields and index cards. Everyone learns names. Everyone learns safety, I said. By 1:30, Ruth texted a screenshot. Instrument number, book and page, recorded. Seconds later, the Society's website posted a short release. Brick Villa donated for Makers and Metalworks community training and micro museum. No quotes from me, just the mission, the dates, the phone number to RSVP. Good. Let the house speak in schedules, not speeches. We walked through the rooms once. Anne marked a few with blue tape for interpretive pieces, photo panels of the mill. Eleanor's taped oral history cued on a small listening station by the stairs. I unlocked the rear studio and stepped inside. The cot, the desk, the window on the alley oak. Quiet, not exile. Purpose. On the porch, the winter sun made the brick glow. A courier brought a small envelope police acknowledgement of our no trespass notices added to the address file. The HOA emailed. Patrol times confirmed. The locksmith's invoice hit my phone. I paid it without reading the line items. Some services you honor by not haggling. At 4, a voicemail notification bloomed on my screen. Aiden, I didn't press play. The preview text read, "Open the door or you'll never see me again." I deleted it and emptied the trash. Boundaries hold when you hold them. Back at the villa, I unboxed 6 new face shields and hung them on pegs by the shop door, laid out gloves by size, checked the first aid kit and stocked extra eye wash. Tomorrow, the first class would stand in a semicircle I'd chalked on the floor. Left hand clear, right hand steady, I would say. Arc on my count. Outside, the light thinned to pewter. I locked the front door, then the shop, then the studio. The keys were warm in my hand. The hearth tile caught the last of the day and held it a moment, then let it go. Saturday, 9 a.m. The first blue arc hissed to life. 6 faces watched from behind fresh shields. I tapped the taped semicircle on the floor. Left hand clear, right hand steady. Arc on my count. The room smelled like steel and new purpose. On the wall, the brass plaque caught a stripe of winter sun. For Eleanor, we keep the fire that made us. We ran bead practice, then lathe safety. Tito walked the line, correcting stance with 2 fingers and a nod. The Historical Society's small audio station played Eleanor's voice low by the stairs, a steady thread in the background. Near 11, the shop door opened a hand's breadth. Aiden stood there, no camera, no entourage. Wind lifting his collar. "Can we talk?" he asked. Like a son. "No," I said. "Classes are in session." "I'm sorry," he said, eyes tight. "For the words. For the porch. For all of it." I heard the words I said. "The deeds matter more. This isn't a confessional." He swallowed. "Is there a way back?" "Not to me as your father," I said. "Not now. Maybe not ever." "To the work?" "Yes. Apply like anyone. Pass safety. Sweep floors. Learn a joint. You won't get my keys. You could earn a torch." He glanced past me at the students. The shields hung in a neat row, the plaque. "Mom would—" "Don't borrow her name," I said, as clean as the first cut of a square. "Not here." He nodded, something in him collapsing without sound. "I'll go," he said. "You will?" I said. "All contact through counsel. If you ever come, it's as a trainee with a signed waiver, not as family." He turned, hand lingering on the push bar, then let the door shut behind him. The latch caught. We went back to work. "Count with me," I told the class. 3, 2, arc. The bead settled where it should, a small straight truth cooling on bright steel. Tito grinned behind his shield. "Not bad for a first morning," he said. At noon I locked the shop, then the front door, then the rear studio. I set my phone to Do Not Disturb and laid it face down beside the framed instrument number from the recorder's office. Outside, the winter light thinned. Inside, the hearth tile held it a moment, then let it go. There was no forgiveness today. There was decency. There was distance. The house would never be used against me again. The door was closed, and it would stay closed. The lesson isn't about revenge. It's about boundaries. When kindness is exploited, the most loving act is to draw a firm line and hold it with calm and law. Respect doesn't arrive by promise. It arrives by consequence. In this family story, the father proves that dignity can be defended without shouting, and that saying no can be the most honest kind of love. The best grandpa stories don't sugarcoat. They show that adulthood begins where entitlement ends. I believe God sees what we endure in silence and steadies the hand that signs the hard papers. Thank God for the clarity to choose a seal over a scene, due process over fury. May God keep this house a place of craft and healing, where work teaches humility and boundaries protect memory. In a family story like this, paper can have a heart when it guards what's true. And in grandpa stories that last, the quiet man wins by standing his ground. Carry this forward into your own days. In any family story worth telling, love grows when limits hold. And in the truest grandpa stories, character is measured by what you refuse to surrender your peace, your purpose, your name. What do you think of an ending that withholds forgiveness but keeps decency? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this resonated, please pass it along to someone who might need it today.